The paper bag crinkled in my trembling hands as I stood frozen outside the glass-walled conference room, my heart hammering so loudly I swore it echoed through the sterile office hallway. I'd spent the morning crafting Sarah's favorite turkey club sandwich, slicing tomatoes with care, tucking in a handwritten note that said, "Love you always, Ethan." It was supposed to be a surprise, a small gesture to brighten her long shift at the marketing firm. But now, as I watched her lean close to her boss, Marcus, their laughter spilling through the door, something inside me cracked. Her hand rested on his arm, her smile too warm, too intimate. And then, as if the universe wanted to twist the knife, Marcus brushed a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering. My world tilted, and the lunch bag slipped from my grip, hitting the floor with a soft thud. I'd always trusted Sarah. 10 years of marriage, 2 kids, and a mortgage we'd scraped to afford. Our life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. She'd been my anchor since college, her quiet strength balancing my tendency to overthink. Lately though, she'd been distant. Longer hours at work, vague texts about meetings, and a new perfume I didn't recognize. I'd chalked it up to stress. Her firm was pitching a huge client, and Marcus, the charming VP, was leading the charge. I'd met him at the company Christmas party, all slick smiles and tailored suits. Sarah had laughed off his flirtations then, rolling her eyes as we drove home. "He's harmless," she'd said. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? But standing there, watching them through the glass, doubt clawed at my chest. I stepped back, my sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. A coworker glanced at me, her brow furrowing, but I ducked my head and retreated to the lobby. My mind raced, replaying every late night, every distracted kiss. Was I paranoid? Or was this the truth I'd been too blind to see? I sat on a stiff couch in the reception area, the lunch bag crumpled beside me. The note inside felt like a cruel joke now. I wanted to storm in, demand answers, but fear glued me to the spot. What if I was wrong? What if I humiliated myself? My phone buzzed. Sarah's name lit up the screen. "Running late, babe. Big meeting. Home by 8. I stared at the words, my thumb hovering over the reply button. I typed, "I'm at your office," then deleted it. Instead I wrote, "Okay. Love you." The lie burned my fingertips. I don't know how long I sat there, the hum of the office blurring around me. Finally, I stood, grabbed the bag, and headed back to the conference room. Maybe I'd misread things. Maybe it was just a friendly moment. I pushed open the glass door, forcing a smile. Sarah looked up, her eyes widening. "Ethan? What are you doing here?" Her voice was bright, but there was an edge to it, a flicker of panic. Marcus leaned back in his chair, his grin easy, like he hadn't just been touching my wife's hair. "Hey man, good to see you," he said, extending a hand. I didn't take it. "Brought you lunch," I said, setting the bag on the table. My voice sounded hollow, like it belonged to someone else. Sarah's smile faltered, her gaze darting to Marcus, then back to me. "That's so sweet," she said, but her hands stayed clasped in her lap, not reaching for the bag. "Thought you might be hungry," I added, my eyes locked on hers. I wanted her to see me, to feel the weight of my stare. Marcus cleared his throat, standing. "I'll give you 2 minutes," he said, slipping out. The door clicked shut, and the silence was suffocating. "Ethan, you didn't have to," Sarah started, but I cut her off. "What's going on, Sarah?" The question hung between us, sharp and heavy. Her face paled, and she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the same strand Marcus had touched. My stomach churned. "Nothing's going on," she said too quickly. "We're just working on the pitch. It's intense right now." "Intense?" I repeated, my voice low. "Is that why you're laughing with him like that? Why his hands are on you?" Her eyes flashed with something, guilt? Anger? "You're overreacting," she said, standing now, her arms crossed. "Marcus is my boss. We work closely. That's it." "Then why lie about the meeting?" I snapped, louder than I meant to. A few heads turned outside the glass walls. "You said you were stuck in a meeting, but you're here, cozying up with him." "Cozying up?" Her voice rose, sharp and defensive. "I'm doing my job, Ethan. You don't get to waltz in here and accuse me of..." "Of what?" I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I didn't see what I saw." She opened her mouth, then closed it, her eyes glistening. For a moment, I thought she'd confess, spill everything. Instead, she grabbed the lunch bag and shoved it into my hands. "Take this and go," she whispered. "You're making a scene." I left, the bag clutched tight, my legs moving on autopilot. The drive home was a blur, my mind a storm of questions. Was I crazy? Was I seeing things that weren't there? But the image of Marcus's hand on her face burned behind my eyes, undeniable. That night, Sarah came home late, her face drawn. Our kids, Emma and Noah, were already asleep. I sat at the kitchen table, the lunch bag unopened between us. She didn't look at it. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. She sighed, sinking into a chair. "Ethan, I'm tired. Can this wait?" "No," I leaned forward, my hands clasped to stop them from shaking. "I need to know what's happening with you and Marcus." Her jaw tightened, and for a moment, I saw the woman I married, fierce, unyielding. Then her shoulders slumped, and she looked away. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it's not nothing." The words hit like a punch. I waited, my breath caught in my throat. She continued, her voice trembling. "It started as nothing. Just work, late nights. He listened when I talked about the stress, the kids, us. I didn't mean for it to happen." "For what to happen?" My voice cracked, and I hated how small it sounded. Her eyes met mine, wet with tears. "We kissed. Once. Last week. I stopped it, I swear. I told him it was a mistake." A mistake? The word echoed, hollow and meaningless. I wanted to scream, to throw the table across the room, but I just sat there, numb. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because I was ashamed," she said, her voice breaking. "I love you, Ethan. I do. I got lost." I stared at her, the woman I'd built a life with, and felt like a stranger was sitting across from me. The trust we'd woven over a decade unraveled in that moment, thread by thread. "I need time," I said finally, standing. I couldn't look at her anymore. The days that followed were a fog. I slept on the couch, avoiding Sarah's pleading eyes. Emma asked why Daddy was sad, and I forced a smile, saying, "Just tired, sweetheart." But inside I was drowning. I replayed every moment of our marriage, searching for clues I'd missed. I wondered if I'd failed her, if I'd been too wrapped up in my own world to notice her slipping away. One night, I found the lunch bag in the fridge untouched. The note was still inside, crumpled but intact. "Love you always, Ethan." I tore it to pieces, my hands shaking. I wanted to hate her, to walk away, but the thought of losing her, of breaking our family, hurt more than the betrayal itself. I don't know what comes next. Sarah's promise to quit, to cut contact with Marcus, but trust is a fragile thing, and ours is shattered. I look at her now, beautiful and broken, and wonder if love is enough to rebuild what we've lost. The pain is raw, a wound that throbs with every heartbeat. But as I watch Emma and Noah sleep, their tiny chests rising and falling, I know one thing. I'll fight for them, even if I don't know how to fight for us.